But who can get up the man in the tomb? Nobody but one with a master grip. Nobody but one with a lion's paw. The Bible said there's a lion asleep in Judah. Who will wake him? No pussycat can wake up a lion. And this pussycat leadership will never wake the black man up. You're too weak in your effort to free our people from the hand of their oppressor.
Because I'm zero. Zero is such a great number to have. Two numbers, 0 and 4. 0 is our number, and 4 is our number. 0 is the number because there's only one 1. And the zeros behind that 1, like the minister said, is a number that you can't count. But 0 means that you shouldn't worry about nothing. Right. The 1 got your back.
Why are we called men?
Yes, sir.
So the foundation for the
Why
1 is the
are
0.
we spiritually
I'm good.
dumb and blind?
Praise be to
What's
Allah.
going on, Brother Kyle?
Everything's going on. You going on. I just came in and brothers sound like they were having a good conversation. I just wanted to get parts of it. You know?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We have a guest in the house
Okay.
that was like sunlight walking into the shop.
Stop.
Brother Hasan, you know what I mean? I've been smiling since he's been here. Don't know the man from Adam. Literally just laying eyes on him.
Assalamu alaikum, Mother Hasan.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
It's a pleasure to meet you, brother.
Pleasure to meet you, brother. All praise is due to Allah.
Indeed,
Yes, sir.
indeed.
But we always start off, we're going to jump right into it. Of course, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, we thank Allah for coming to us in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad and raising up for us the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as his exalted Christ. And we further thank Allah for raising up the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as their reminder in our midst today.
Yes, sir.
So we start off with the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum for the viewers, the listeners, and all of the customers here today. But this is going to be another one like with Hakeem Hakeem, where Brother Zebulon is going to try to take a back step so that we can talk with our brother right here.
Indeed.
Because I'm sure he got something to add that's going to look real good on the page. You know what I mean? Because it's all about the time that we're living in right now.
Yes, sir.
It is our time.
It's our time.
It is literally our time because 3 people sacrificed.
Right.
Master Prophet Muhammad sacrificed and came here by himself. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad sacrificed, and we know we're witnessing the sacrifices of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
That's right.
And right now, from all of that sacrifice, and here we stand.
Come on.
So when you look at us and listen to us and watch what's going on with us, it's because of them
Right.
that we stand, and it's because of them that the whole world is looking at everything we do and say.
Yes, sir.
So that's all I gotta say. And I'm gonna let God do everything else, but we want to talk to Brother Hasan,
Okay.
who got his name from our leader. And Hasan, when I asked him, what does it mean? I'll let you do the honors, brother. What does it mean?
First, let me say in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I too bear witness that there is no God but Allah who came to us in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad, who praise of you forever. We thank you for his coming and for raising him our midst, a divine leader, teacher, and guide, his messenger, and Messiah, and most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And as brothers already eloquently stated, none of us would be standing here right now if it wasn't for this bold, brave black man that the world has come to know as a true man of God. That's why whenever you hear them talking about the minister,
That's right.
we all know, no matter where we are on the planet, when we say the minister, we know that we're talking about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who we're going to have the pleasure to hear from tomorrow from Mons Mariana. So if you see this before then, be sure to tune in to NOI.org hear from God's man, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. In those names I greet you, my brothers in the listening audience, sisters in the listening audience, be words of peace by Sunday.
Wow, alaikum salam, sir.
So I was blessed to be, blessed really first to be a member of the Nation of Islam, blessed to serve as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, local representative in Fresno, California.
Okay.
I'm also blessed to serve as the West Coast Regional Prison Reform Minister under the leadership of Minister Farrakhan, also under the leadership of our National Student Representative, Brother Abdullah Muhammad. So I'm here visiting. This is my roots. I grew up down on 5th and Snyder Avenue, went to Taggart Elementary School, went to Furnace Junior High School. I went to Bach down on 8th and Mifflin, and dropped out, at about the age of 17 and went into the military. Had a chance to travel, went in and out of China, in and out of Japan, Korea, Philippines, lived in the Philippines actually. Lived in Japan, visited Australia, got a chance to go to the African continent, and that's where I received the life-giving teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the leadership of Mr. Farrakhan. And to be quite frank, at that point in time, I told the devil to go to hell. You know what I mean? I decided I was going to come on and help build a nation for our people.
Wow.
So anything that you want to ask, anything that I can add to this conversation, I'm more than happy to do that. I'm blessed to be with Brother Zebulon Parson. And I called our East Coast or Delaware Valley Regional Captain, Brother Anthony Muhammad, and told him I was in the city. And right now he's in Chicago because the leader is going to speak tomorrow. But I told him, I said, well, brother, I want to get tightened up a little bit. He said, well, we got a man. And I asked him, he says, I don't want to mispronounce it. Zebulon, pardon me, brother. And I said, is he one of ours? He said, oh, absolutely. He's definitely one of ours, And I said, well, all praise is due to Allah. So I'm here with my nephews. This little brother here is from Georgia. This is Brother Mar. And this is Brother Avery. And he lives in Japan. His mother's a math teacher in Japan, and he speaks fluent Japanese. Close to fluent Japanese.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Very intelligent brothers. And I told him I was coming to get my hair cut. First, his mother wanted me to get it. I said, well, I don't get to see them. So I said, why they here? But y'all got to come roll on the house. You don't even have a choice in the matter. Y'all got to. I may not. Last time I think I saw him was close to maybe 2-3 years ago. Right, so we don't get to see each other very often, and that's getting to be a big problem because it seems like the only time we get together as a family is when there's a funeral. And that's getting to be a real big problem. So we have to take the necessary time out to say, you know what, let's just get together because we never know. I mean, my mother, when I was here in Philadelphia, threw a birthday party, for me down in South Philly, and my aunt was there, and that was the last time I saw her. A lot. Was that my birthday? Was that my birthday party? I think it was like my 52nd, 51st birthday party or something like that. So a lot, but we know and understand our families have been broken and destroyed. That's one of the reasons why God had to come. Rebuild, so we rebuild our families. One of the ways we do that is taking opportunities to deliver effort, to get together.
Right.
And that's what this is right now. So instead of being here for a funeral, I'm here to celebrate my sister's 60th birthday. Wow. All praise is due, to Allah. So that's why we're here. Okay. All praise is due to Allah. So I thank brother for receiving me, in the wonderful spirit, that he did. Not only was he smiling when he saw me, I'm sure I was smiling when I saw my brother. And I'm very proud of the work that he's doing here because he's stepping away from the devil, stepping away from the enemy. And what we're witnessing here is a brother really putting the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad into action, where he told us, that we must do something for ourselves. You know, and that's not a lightweight. That's not a lightweight thing. So we're proud of our brother. We want to pray that Allah bless us in with success. And now I got another place that there's some places when you come in the city that is mandatory.
Right.
You just gotta touch down.
All praises.
So this now we add the barbershop to the list. We gotta come to 1322 South 48th Street.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
And that's mandatory.
That's right.
We gotta do that.
I mean,
We gotta do that.
I always say this
Yes, sir.
about that address.
Right.
Now it's deep because I heard those addresses that you just got finished saying, Brother Hasan, that you were from 5th Street. We sold it all up and down 5th
Come
Street.
on
but
now.
You know how that neighborhood is, right?
Yes,
It's a
sir.
very, very bad neighborhood. So
Right.
you know the FOI, we go where the yellow tape is.
Oh, come on now.
That's what we do.
That's what we
So
do.
when you got yellow tape, just know you're going to see a bow tie.
Right.
Normally I wear the red one.
Right. But here, take that back. Wherever we see yellow tape, you got to see the road top.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I was working, because I was giving you a quick, brief history
Right.
of how I got introduced into, the Nation of Islam and the teachings of Elijah Muhammad as taught by the Honorable Minister of Farrakhan.
Right.
But we're not going to backtrack, but I want to build it a little further.
Okay.
My shop was on 1300 McKean. So I was right there in Rome.
Right.
And you know that's wrong.
Come on.
Because at one point you couldn't walk on that block.
Right.
But I have to say, I was supposed to be there.
Right.
And that's what a couple European, Caucasian customers of mine said. They said, God brought you here. Because the whole while I was there, and you'll see some videos when I was down there, I had the time of what must be done on a wall, which I plan on getting on these walls as soon as I get a chance. The 58 installment lecture series that I Honorable Minister Farrakhan. And I had that on my wall. And I never stopped pushing the teachings of Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad because I was in a Caucasian neighborhood. And I come to find that they were very interested. Very interested. And I'm not going to say they received it because that means you take it and you use it. But they were very intrigued and they wanted to know more. But 13th and McKean was like Little Italy. It was Rome. And now that I left there, I came to 1322 South 48th Street. 2 4. That's right. And it's deep with those numbers because the 13, when I left, it was a big boom. If you look on the news, they said it was a big boom that happened twice in South Philly. It shook the houses. They don't know what it was. That was the week I left. You remember, right? So I looked at it and I said, okay, let me go to the 13th chapter of the Holy Quran. It said the thunder. I said, okay. I said, well, maybe that's just coincidental. You know how we think.
Right.
So I moved on, and then I looked at 22. Because this is 1322 South 48th Street. So when I went to Holy Quran and looked at chapter 22, Surah 22, that was entitled Al-Hajj. So I made Hajj out of like the Prophet Muhammad, the Holy Prophet Muhammad left Mecca because he was driven out of Mecca and went to Medina, but then Hajj was when he went back to Mecca to stay. I left them like you just put them and came here to 1322 to stay.
Yes, sir.
Made Hajj here to stay. All this took place when I turned 48 years old, and the 48th chapter of the Holy Quran is entitled The Victory. So here we are on 48th Street. It happened when I turned 48. So I'm just sharing that because I know that I'm not the only number 4 with a testimony.
Right.
It's our time now to recognize what these men have done so you can find yourself in Scripture.
Right.
Because it's one thing to know that Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister of Farrakhan, but that really can't be too much when you don't know yourself. Knowledge of self is one of the 3 major things that we were taught. Knowledge of self, knowledge of God, knowledge of your enemy.
Knowledge of the enemy. That's right.
When you don't have those 3, then it's really no good to you.
Right.
If you're missing one of those 3,
Right.
it's really no good for you. So I feel like we must learn now that we know the value of our God, our messenger, exalted Christ, and our reminder,
Right.
divine reminder and warner, you know what I mean, and comforter.
Right.
We know their value, but it's not going to come together until we know our own.
Right.
And I really don't have, when you said the minister,
Right.
Holy Quran calls that Al.
Right.
He is the definite article.
He is the definite article.
That's right.
He is the example that all of us will attain the righteousness, regardless of class, creed, or color.
That's right.
We should strive to live up to.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
So I want to fall back. I really do, but I just wanted to share that because
Oh, that's fine, bro.
I want us to be more daring.
Okay.
I want us to be more connected.
All right.
Our Christian brothers, like we were talking about, Brother Hasan,
Yes, sir.
earlier, they talk about Jesus so much,
Right.
but they talk about Jesus in a slave way.
Right.
They never talk about the way they're, I mean, where do you fit in?
Right.
How are you connected to the Jesus?
Right.
You know, so here we are, the real Christians, like the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad called us.
Right.
We have a Jesus figure
Right.
that was sent by the true and living God,
Right.
just like 2,000 years ago.
Right.
So now we understand how valuable and important and valid they are.
Right.
But what about us?
Right.
Why can't we heal?
Right.
Like Matthew 17:21, you know, or it was really 20. They asked, how is it that you were able to cast out the demon and we couldn't? And Jesus said, if you had the faith, the grain of a mustard seed, you can do all kind of stuff, but you don't.
Right.
So when are we going to get that faith? I believe when we put our head on it. So Jesus is the head and we're the body,
Right.
but we're a bunch of decapitated believers.
Right.
That's why nothing can happen with a body with no head.
Right.
Anybody you see with no head is a dead man.
That's right.
So the resurrection process can't be
In
complete.
fact, if you see a man walking around without a head,
Better get out of Dodge.
you know it's Halloween.
That's right. The headless horseman.
Yeah.
So
You know
I mean-
that's Halloween.
Yes, sir.
You know.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But I mean, we have to.
Mhm.
But one of the things that we have to remember is that, when the enemy brought us here, I think it's in the message of the Black Man. Well, I think it was Henry Berry who said that we have done everything we possibly can to keep light from coming into the mind of a slave.
Mm-hmm.
That means that they have done everything that they possibly can to keep us from getting knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. But to me, it also means that they were expecting a deliverer. They were expecting somebody to come. See? Because when we read the scripture, whenever we see the people that are downtrodden, we know that God favors the downtrodden. So when we look at the people in the day of Moses and Aaron, and the children of Israel in Egypt, well, God gave them a deliverer. When we look at the people in the book of Daniel, who went into slavery and had their names changed and was given the king's meat to eat, they received a deliverer.
That's right.
You see, so we can't see ourselves, as you said, as we should see ourselves, because we have been taught to rely totally and completely on the enemy. So we can't see outside of the perspective that he has given us, and all that's by design. I believe that we know that when we look at the prophets, for example, when we look at Moses in the Old Testament, we look at Jesus in the New Testament, we look at Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. We know that we have a connection to those men when we do what they did, which is to transform the lives of those that they were with in that particular time. So Moses was a civilizer and a liberator.
That's right.
We need one of those. Jesus, again, was a leader, teacher, and a guide, right?
That's right.
We need one of those. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, transformed the Arabs. They were worshiping everything. They took everything for an idol.
Right.
But he took the most ignorant people that were on the planet at that particular time and transformed them. So our work of transformation, our work that we do that's able to affect change for the positivity of the people is what proves our connection to those men and to that God. And that's what we saw the Honorable Elijah Muhammad do. right? When he built those 46 independent schools, he bought land. He started getting us into international trade and commerce. He was transforming our lives. He was transforming our lives. You know, he took us away from a religion that appealed to our emotion,
Right.
and gave us a religion that appealed to our logic
That's right.
and our reason.
That's right.
You see? Yeah, Paul says in the scripture, no, prove all things.
That's right.
So if you want to prove the things, that means you have to examine it, right? You have to test it. You understand what I'm saying? You have to put it to the test. You know, so you can't prove that the white man is not who the Most High Muhammad said he is. You got to prove that. See, we can prove that the white man is not our friend. We can prove that the white man is the natural enemy. We can prove that you don't come back after you die from the dead. So now, if that's your belief, that's your belief. That's not knowledge. Belief is not knowledge. I can say, I know that brother, what's your name, brother?
Brother Kyle.
Where's Brother Kyle? Well, now, I believe Brother Kyle went to the store. Right? But then I can state in the affirmative that he actually went to the store. That's the difference between believing something and knowing something. So your belief is not necessarily, and then we can, you know, look at your condition and, you know, improve through your condition that you're not connected to the Jesus. And we have to accept the fact that we were purposely disconnected. We were disconnected on purpose. They were expecting somebody. Like when we look in the scripture, we see that Pharaoh and Caesar, the Caesar that day, they both had the same plan. What was that plan? To kill the boy babies.
That's right.
2 years old and under. Okay? They were expecting someone to come. See, they were expecting a man child to be born that would deliver the slaves from the oppressor. Now, the enemy having the scripture in his hands and knowing the scripture, see, we know that God doesn't change. God is a God that changes not, the Bible says in the Quran. I'm not perfect in quoting scripture, pardon me, but Allah says, just watch my injunctions and words. This kind of repeat themselves. You know, I do the same thing every time. There's a pattern. I'm going to change my pattern. So we have a right, a natural right to expect that if God is real, if he did it for the children of Israel, if he did it for the children of Palestine, if he did it for the desert Arabs, that my condition is worse than all of those people's condition combined.
Right.
If he's God, why would he not do it for me? But he did one better. He, huh?
No, I'm just letting you. Yes, sir.
He did one better. He did not just raise one. He came himself in person. Know for sure that I see shall what? Be a stranger and a land that is not theirs. It shall serve them and afflict them for 400 years, and then after that time, the personal pronoun, I, will come. See? I'm going to come. And that's what we teach. That's what we know. Because I mean, a man is going to stand up, a slave from Georgia, step down Georgia. Huh? They say no light in that thing is so removed, brother. No light up, huh? A Georgia-born black man, we call it.
That's right.
Huh? Was a drunk on the train tracks and heard a man and told that man, I know who you are. You the long way the man that was supposed to come. Right?
Born to know him.
Born to know. And stand up
That's right.
in this government and look that man in his teeth and say, God told me, I didn't get this from myself, that you are the devil of the Bible and the shaitan of the Holy Quran. Right?
That's right.
And live. You got Negroes around here that are dead, that was scared to think what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. But it's not what he said. That's not where the proof is to me. The proof is in what he did behind what he said. And the men that he produced. See, he produced the heavyweights. Malcolm was a heavyweight. Malcolm shook the world. Lord D. Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with both of them. They shook the world. Every one of them. Muhammad Ali shook the world. And Minister Farrakhan is still shaking. You see, nobody is produced with the men of the light of the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So it's beyond belief now.
Right.
If you don't know it by now, you'll never know.
That's right.
Not believe it, but know it. We have to know that God has intervened in our affairs. You know.
Let me ask you this, Brother Hasan.
Yes, sir.
You said the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was able to appeal to our logic instead of our emotion. And that's what made us successful. That's what made him successful and made us successful. So, fast forward to today's world, right? There's a lot of logic out here, right? Because people are going to colleges, people are going to university. More black men and women now are going the route for formal education. So there's an argument that can be made that there's a lot of education out here. There's a lot of logic out here. So what is the benefit of what the Most Honorable Elijah, the men that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is producing still today, when you compare the two, like formal education versus the education that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad instilled in us?
First of all, that is a wonderful question.
Thank you, brother. Praise be to Allah.
But we have to understand that education and training is two different things.
Okay.
The scripture says of the Jesus, how is this man not having letters is learning? Okay? Letters don't make you learn. I got letters. I got a BA from the University of Chapman University of Business Administration. I have a master's degree from the University of Phoenix in education. I'm working on another master's degree. And I intend to get more letters, but those letters do not make me learn. Okay? Education is not training. So the education, as you referred to it, you know, what's different with us being trained by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is that the education or the training that we're receiving is to be used to do something for self first.
Okay.
So when I'm studying, as I study education, I'm studying education in terms of, you know, what am I going to do for them? They're first.
Right.
You understand? Education comes from a Latin word, el duco, I believe Minister Farrakhan said, which means to lead one from darkness into light.
Okay.
From weakness, you know, into strength. From ignorance into knowledge. The white man's educational system is not designed to do that for them. It's not a system of real education. It's a system of training. So the knowledge or the logic that you call that they're going to receive from those institutions is just really long term to make them better slaves for the master. But when the unlettered one comes, see, he's taught by God. And then those of us who have letters from the enemy, we go to the unlearned one to learn how to make proper use of what the white man gave us. And that's the difference between being educated and being trained.
Wow.
That's the difference. I don't want to train them. I want to educate them. Education also deals with the excavation of the pulling out of the natural gifts and talents and abilities that God has put in them. So you see education, you see extraction, you see excavation, right? All of these are gods, right? That's the first thing we learn in the student enrollment. Who is, not was, who is the original man. And they have to be able to quote it. The original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. That's kindergarten.
That's right.
That's first day, kindergarten. And that, you see, and that leads, and that's what gives us the expectancy. Now, Hasan Hilliard, may God be pleased with him, who was an educator, said that your educational system comes out of your spiritual system.
I need to stop for 1 second.
Okay.
Excuse me, my brother.
But the only thing I want you to do is just,
I want to talk turkey first.
oh yes sir, that's all praise. I know I'm
Don't
doing
forget
it.
what you ready to say.
No, brother, I just want you to clean up the ball. Don't go into the fade.
Okay.
Just clean up the ball, right, and then open up the crop and we can shape it up. You don't have to go into the fade.
Let's rock and roll.
Okay,
You're in
yes,
the right
sir.
spot.
Oh, I know I am, bro. I'm in the hand of the throw up.
If you from Philly, you know about the Philly fade.
Right. Okay. So Hasan Hilliard did a CD called The Pedagogy of the Taproot. And what he dealt with is that your educational system comes about of your spiritual system. Now, in the white man's spiritual system, he teaches that all of us are sinners by nature. Right?
You do want to shake this hairline out, right?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Brother, look.
All right.
You got it. Come on, man.
Sure. That's right.
I'm in good hands. You ain't got to have that conversation. I'm not even looking in the mirror
Yes, sir.
when I walk up out of here. So, you know, I mean, y'all realize Muhammad said we have to learn to trust one another.
That's right.
And one of the reasons why we can't get things done is because we don't trust one another. So look, if your child is in my hands, and I'm being taught that, you know, he's a sinner, well, that's going to dictate the way I teach him. That's going to dictate the way I train him. But if your son is in my hands and I'm being taught that he's a God, then what I teach him, when I teach him, how I teach him, what I teach him, all that changes. And that puts us at odds with the Caucasian's educational system. Because at the very root of it, the philosophy is different. Right? What do we teach? God is a what?
A man.
Man. Not a spook. He's a man. See, if you go into the 109th surah of the Holy Quran, titled The Disbelievers, I can't quote it perfectly, but whenever Prophet Muhammad refers to the God that he serves, he refers to him as a man. I don't serve him, you don't serve him, whom I serve. But when he talks about the other God, he refers to them as that or which. And the Al-Glass Muhammad says we have been taught to worship that which we know not what.
Wow.
So the biggest religion on the planet today is not Christianity, Islam, or Judaism. The biggest religion on the planet today is spookism. We believe in a spook. Okay? We believe in a spook. Now, if I'm teaching, now those brothers are in my hands, and those are your sons, and I'm teaching them that they're gods, then the expectation is different. The expectation is different. I don't want them just to quote what I'm telling them. I want them to think about what I'm telling them. How do you know? See, right? So when you deal with an iceberg, like 85% of the iceberg, right, is below the water. Okay?
Right.
Only 15% is on top. So if you look at that in terms of teaching and training, the top of the iceberg, the 15% is the what. But down here below is where you find the how and the why. See? And that's the problem. So if the preacher can't answer a question, they say, well, you just have to believe it. No, I don't. I don't have to believe anything. Even what I believe, why I believe, I have a reason for believing why I believe what I believe. You understand? That's the difference. So our people aren't being educated. Our people are being trained to fit into a system that does not work for them. So you get a master's degree, you go out and you find a what? Job. J-O-B. Just above broke. You don't build anything. You know, we're not being taught to train. That's why our condition is, we're in college, but we're not taught to build anything for them. We're not being taught to pass anything on to them. Well, I got 10 grandchildren. What am I going to leave for them when I leave here? So every generation has to start from a zero because we're not being educated. So God gives us a man who was taught from the mouth of God. So it was his brother in Closing the Gap, I'm sure you read it. He said, the man said, I was in banking for 20 years. He said, I had one conversation about banking, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught me more about banking than I ever knew. But he's been a banker for 20 years. But how does the man of God see and understand banking? How does the man of God see and understand education? How does the man of God see and understand engineering, science, food, cooking, agriculture? How does the man of God see that? See, we're not being taught that. Wow. But if we're gods by nature, we have to be taught by God through the man of God. And that's what the enemy fears. That's what the enemy fears. That's why you see that sign, educated black man. You see that? Danger.
Right.
Educated black man. That's when you graduated from Harvard or from Yale or from Howard. You ain't educated. You're not educated. So that would be the way I don't know if that did it, but that would be the way that I would.
That more than did it, brother.
That would be the way that I would answer that question.
Thank you. I wanted to backtrack and go back into your roots a little bit.
Yes, sir.
So you're from South Philly originally?
Yes, sir. I grew up down in South Philly, down on 5th and Snide Avenue.
Okay.
I went to the Mountain Mount Baptist Church, sung on the choir, and I thank God for that, chamber, because I had a strong grandfather. There were strong deacons in that church. And I have to believe that. And I was a man that I thank a lot for, named Deacon Ike Shaw, who was a master plumber.
That's my man.
I was about to say, I recognize the name. I feel like I've heard
Like
you.
Shaw, right
Yeah.
up this street.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like my uncle to me.
Yeah. He passed away years ago.
No. You talking? See,
I'm talking about his father.
Right. I'm talking about.
You talking about Ike Shaw lived on? Yeah, I know who he
Still
is.
living there?
Yeah, that was his father. Right. And brother, I tell you the truth. He was the first one to teach me that the white man was the devil.
What? Wow.
He was the first one. So, and then I had a barber who was in the Nation of Islam, whose name was Najee. And his father had a barber shop down on 5th and McKean Street. And I was 8, 9 years old. And he started teaching me about how God was one. And I said, no, brother, God is three. He said, no, brother, you can't take 3 and divide it into 1. Get a fraction. God is not a fraction. Yeah. And he was so beautiful with me. He delicately would teach me. He didn't condemn me. You can take the fade up a little bit higher. I mean, the ball a little higher. And try to get as much gray out as you can without going too thick. Praise be to Allah. And so, that was kind of my preparation. And then so I grew up down in South Philly, and I dropped out of school about 15 or 16, and wound up going into the military, going into the Navy when I was 17.
Okay.
So, and then I traveled the world. Well, not the whole world, but I went to China, I went to Korea, I went to the Philippines, Japan, Korea, Singapore.
Wow.
I hope I didn't miss any place. And so that was my first trip, and I always wondered, I always had these questions in my head about, about the world and how things went. So when I got forward deployed from the Philippines, I was stationed in the Philippines, and I was forward deployed on the Midway. That's when I met a brother, still a real good friend of mine, brother of mine, named Kawan. And Kawan gave me the tape of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And the title of that tape was, And There Was No Man. No man to till the ground. And the minister went into how there was no man to till our heads, to till our minds, to cultivate us as a people. And I tell you, brother, the first time I heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I believed. No doubt. I came on leave, went over here to Hakeem's bookstore down on 52nd and Market.
Right.
Is it still down there?
Yes, sir.
Got my first copy of The Message to the Black Man. Subscribed to the Fountain Call newspaper. Bought pictures of the messenger, put them up in my rack where I slept, and went to work. You know, I did lose a debate, and I knew that what the minister was teaching me was the truth because he was quoting scripture. You know, I couldn't find a Bible, couldn't find one. And the only say in the book of Mark that Jesus got brothers and sisters, is that there?
It's in Matthew 2. Yes, sir.
Matthew 3, sir.
I wanted to say Matthew also.
Oh, Mark.
Yeah.
Right, I
Mark and
apologize.
Matthew.
Oh, thank you. Well, I learned something new. That's one thing when you come into the Muslim barbershop. He said, I wanted to say, right. And thank you for the correction there, brother. And see, that's one thing about us, brother. You know, we love correction.
That's right.
We want to be corrected, you know, but we have to correct one another correctly in the right spirit
In love.
and with love, right?
I gotta say, brother, I didn't correct you because you were right when you said Mark. Yes, it is in Mark, but it's in Mark and also Matthew. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
When I said Matthew 2, you thought I meant chapter 2. I'm saying Matthew also.
Okay, yes, sir. Okay, I'm sorry, dear brother.
So
Right,
you-
okay.
Yeah, I didn't want to leave you out there like that. You were right on the money.
Okay, praise be to Allah. I appreciate that. But so,
Yes, sir.
but you know, man, I lost my thought. But what I'm going after is, I got the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad as I was moving with the enemy. So when you go in and out of Japan, when you go in and out of the Philippines, when you go in and out of China, the first time I went into a mosque was in China.
Okay.
And these brothers were trying to tell me that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wasn't teaching true Islam. Now, you know how you are when you first get to teaching? You know how fired up you are?
Yes, sir.
When you don't give a damn
Right.
about hell? I'm telling you, brother, I had about a teaspoon of truth at that time, but that's all I needed, brother, and I roasted them in China.
Right.
You gonna tell me my leading teacher ain't a real Muslim?
Right.
I'm telling you, bro, that's all I had is about a teaspoon of truth at that time. You know? Yes, sir. And we roasted them by Allah's permission. Because who are you to say who's a Muslim and who's not? And the thing that the Minister Farrakhan made me to understand was that, you know, we're Muslims by nature. Let me give you another example. My wife now, who I was dating at that particular time, she wrote me a letter. And I was telling her about the life-giving teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And she said, well, I'm a Christian. And I'm going to stay a Christian.
Right.
I knew that was a lie. But how did I know that? Because Minister Farrakhan already told me who she was. That she was a Muslim by nature. So the only thing she needed to do was to be introduced to herself.
Right.
And be with a man that's trying to be herself. And she'll come around. And it was rough in the house for a minute, brothers. I ain't gonna lie. But I came home one day, brother, and the power was on. The video was on. I said, oh, baby, don't get up. I'll get whatever it is I need. I went back to the bedroom and raised my hand. All praise is due to Allah. That goose was cooked. She's done, brother. Because now she's in the hands of the man of God.
That's right.
You know? And so that's what we're dealing with, brother. I mean, you know, so that's how I got introduced. And then I came home. I did one last tour, but my executive officer said, well, you don't want to go back cold like that because you really don't know what's happening. It's better for you to go back and see what's going on, try to get a feel for what's happening, and we get the benefit of your fleet experience, and that makes sense. So I stayed just a little bit longer, but suffice it to say, brother, you know, that we all, when God wants you, when it's time. See, the teacher don't show up until the student is ready.
That's right.
Student, and so given my life experience and the places I have been and the things that I've seen and the questions that I was asking, the brother gave me the tape. It was like clockwork. You know, I went on
Go no further than this, right?
yeah, just as far as you go here, you know, take the gray out. Is it the gray?
Go here.
Well, we'll do what you think is good. I mean, what do you think? You know,
I'm gonna get up.
yeah. So I mean, so the thing is, when God is ready for you, brother, he'll find you. And he found me in a different country.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about Minister Farrakhan. I didn't know anything about life giving teachers of the young. I mean, I knew nothing. So when I got what I got, where I got it, it was supposed to happen. You know?
Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir.
You so you travel throughout Asia. So a lot of traveling in throughout Asia
Yes, sir. Australia. I did Australia as well. And Africa.
and Africa. So like you had a fair share of interaction with the original man, but you know in other nations.
Yes, sir.
Did you have any positive experiences based on the knowledge that you have now, given to us by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad? Did anything strike you as awesome? You know, when you think about the travel that you did have, and then the knowledge.
I really didn't have an opportunity to interact with the people in terms of, well, the one experience that I had that was in China that I told you about, that was extremely awesome. And then when I was in Africa, I spent some time with a sister. And I was sharing with her the life-giving teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Of course, she knew that we were in America, but she didn't have any idea about what had happened to us as a people and why we were so different from the Africans that were back home. That was a great experience. But I mean, the most awesome thing to me is that no matter where I went, brother, we never lost an argument. I mean, I remember one time we were having this discussion about God and the devil. We were in a room, and it was a mixed crowd. I just got up and said, everybody on this side of the room, regardless of your color, is the slave. And everybody on this side of the room, regardless of your color, is the slave master. And I'm God. Now, how am I going to deal with this situation? How am I going to deal with it? Now, you got brothers and white boys on this side, and you got brothers and white boys on this side. I divided them down the middle. You a slave master. You a slave. And I'm God. Now how am I going to deal with this situation? The scriptures teach you that I'm going to go to the slaves and raise one up from among them. Right?
Right.
See? Scripture has taught you that you're going to oppose them. See? Now, if that's my condition, do I have a right to expect a deliverer? See, so once you come above pigmentation, like what does Mr. Farrakhan say devil is? He didn't say white skin is not devil. He said devil is the negative influence of deceptive intelligence that rationalizes disobedience to the will of God. So anybody that falls victim to the negative influence can be titled a devil, regardless of class, creed, or color.
That's right.
Right?
Anything grafted from the original is there.
Come on now. Right? And we have, in a sense, been mentally and spiritually grafted from the original. So now we're devils in black skin.
That's
Right.
See? So that's the most awesome thing. is that, and I didn't have any books. The only thing I had to rely on was the Final Call newspaper and the tapes that we ordered. So we ordered tapes. And we would play the minister's tapes out loud. And I remember the minute we ordered the history of Yaku.
Oh my goodness.
And I was on the top rack. We slept 3 deep, and I was on the top.
Right.
And you remember those double cassette players, right?
Right.
So I put the double cassette in, and I'm running it. But I didn't put it all the way in. Follow me? So it was in far enough to where I can hear it through my headphones, but it also went out. And Mr. Farrakhan was talking about the making of the devil. He said the white man's weak blood, weak bone, and weak skin made him susceptible to the weak idea. He didn't make himself. Right? When you deal with the parable of the potter and the clay.
Right.
See? So the white man, so we can't hate him because he's made to do what he's doing.
Who made you and by whose permission did you come?
Come on, see? So, right? He was born with a determined idea.
Right.
Who determined the idea? He didn't determine the idea. Yaqub didn't determine the idea. God determined the idea and worked the idea through Yaqub.
That's right.
You see? So, the funny thing about that was, when they got up the next morning, they said, if you're going to play Minister Farrakhan, listen, they said, do you have to play him so loud? They didn't dispute what he was teaching. They didn't dispute what he was teaching. It's just that if you want to play it, just turn it down a little bit. It's like, wow. So those kinds of experiences. And traveling, man, and being out to sea, and watching the God, man, play with the aircraft carrier the way your children play with their toys in a bathtub. Makes you to know, man, they don't have no juice. He shut down the battle group, brother. He shut down the battle group. 80, 90 airplanes, each and every one of them, brother, at the mercy of Allah. We had to put 36 tie-down chains on every aircraft.
Wow.
To keep them tied down. Close the hangar bay doors and wait it out. Because the power of the God of the power of nature was doing its thing. And with all that juice we had, with all that firepower we had, brother, we just had to sit and said, let's just wait for the God to finish doing what he's doing. Because we don't have no control over this here. So, so going through experiences like that, going into fog that's so thick in the daytime that you can barely see your hands in front of your face.
Wow.
Shooting airplanes off and you're not able to get them back because the weather changes so drastic. You can't get the airplanes back. Stuff like that. I mean, this is an awesome God we serve.
That's right.
I mean, he really is an awesome God, and so that's my beginnings.
Wow.
That's my beginning. So when you said the white man is the skunk of the planet Earth, see, most of us in the Nation of Islam, so we read that in the lessons. But see, I lived that. I was with him when he dumped the trash in the ocean. I was with him when he dropped bombs in the ocean. I saw the way that he manipulated the darker people of the earth. I see the results of him robbing the darker people of the earth of their resources and things of that sort. Okay. I lived it, brother, because I was the skunk. You know what I mean? And that was my aspiration. My aspiration was to be the skunk. Because I didn't have any knowledge of myself, my God, or my enemy. So I wanted to be a Colin Powell. So I didn't want to be the Secretary of State. I wanted to be the Secretary of Defense. But Minister Farrakhan said, no, brother, that's not what you're here for. God got something else for you to do. And that's why, and that's what happened. So you say all praise is due to Allah. That's wonderful, brother.
Wow.
Praise be to Allah.
That's wonderful.
What's up with your mustache?
If you just knock off anything that's on the top, and then line it
At
up,
the bottom?
and then line it,
So tell us, you brought up the minister. Tell us about your name. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave you Your name?
I was blessed to be with Minister Farrakhan. I think it was October 2018
Okay.
in Oakland, California.
Uh-huh.
And I called my regional minister to ask him, what we done, because I live in Fresno, which is 2 hours, 2.5 hours south. And I had some soldiers who we want to get on the road to get back home. He said, we want to greet the minister. Don't bring anybody else. Just bring yourself up to the hotel suite. And so then he got us in a circle, and he began to talk to us about Cain and Abel. It was really a beautiful session. And our attitudes towards things when things happen to us, being patient, and then he started giving out names. And then he looked at me, because I didn't think I was worthy of any time, right? But I wasn't even, he was cheering for everybody that could have been in the room when somebody was giving a name. You know what I mean? Whether you get one or not, you know what I mean? My brother. And I was the last one that he named. And he looked at me and he said, what is your name? And at that time, my name was Brother Darrell. Okay. And I said, dear Apostle, my name is Brother Darrell Muhammad. And he said, no, sir. He said, your name is Brother Hasan. And he said, Hasan means the beauty of God. And he said, and brother, whenever I see you, that's what I see. I see a beautiful brother. And I was flabbergasted by that. I mean, and I left the room like a deer in the headlights, brother. I'm just telling you, I didn't know, you know. And we drove back to Fresno. I called my wife and told her. She was elated. And the whole time in the car, I was just silent the whole time. I didn't say anything. You know.
Wow. Praise be to Allah.
No, we were almost done.
And I was asking, why? What had I done? And Allah's beneficent, brother, and He's merciful. Right? And I just had to accept it. It took a while. And then the brother said, it says in the Holy Quran that when Allah has decreed a matter, let there be not any straightness in your breast. Allah knows us better than we know ourselves, despite our shortcomings and shortfalls. He can speak, as brother was telling me earlier, we have to be careful. When we get a blessing like that, we have to accept it.
Right.
And the only thing I can do now is strive to talk to somebody, say, I gotta stop acting ugly now. With a name like that. Have to be careful. And it's interesting because, my mother told me when I first became a student minister in that city, she said to me, she said, let me tell you, son, you gotta be careful on how you conduct yourself. She said, because you may be the only Quran that a person may read.
Oh, that's powerful.
And I can tell you that people have told me that I've never spent any time with it. But like you were saying earlier, dear brother, people watch us from places that we don't even know. This sister told me she had a death in her family. And that sister told me, she said, I know you a Muslim. And I said, well, sister, I'm striving. She said, no, I know you're a Muslim. I've been watching you since I was 12 years old.
Wow.
No, she didn't say that. It was another brother that told me he's been watching me since he was 12. But that sister said, he's been watching me for a long time. And then another brother told me, said, brother, I've been watching you since I was 12 years old. Wow. So we don't know. We think we know, brother, but we don't have a clue. And maybe that's good. Maybe it's good that we don't know and understand the way that we're affecting people because, maybe that'll keep us humble.
Okay.
The right kind of humble.
Yeah, maybe that'll keep us, striving to be, ultimately what Allah wants us to be. But I'm just grateful, brother, to have had the sense, that had to be God. For me to be where I was, doing what I was doing, and thinking what I was thinking. Because I had no thought of black people in my mind. I had no thought of the black community. The only thing I knew was every time I came home, my community was worse. But I didn't, I'm not saying that it was bad, but I never had any thought in terms of trying to do anything about it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's where the opportunity, of all the opportunities that we're looking for, that we say that the white man denies us, those opportunities are in the communities that lay desolate. I'm not trying to go live with white people or anything like that. Not that there's anything wrong with having a white neighbor. I got a white neighbor that lives across the street. And whenever that man leaves town, he lets me know he's leaving.
Right.
Because he knows the kind of person I am.
Your character.
Yeah, look after my house while I'm going. I ain't gonna say I ain't looking after no. Come on, man, we beyond that, brother. Right?
Yeah,
We beyond that. I mean, that man, they dropped some school materials off because I homeschool my grandson. And they dropped the materials off at my house. And that white man went across the street and got all them boxes and put them in his garage so nobody would take them. So I went across the street. I said, Ron, somebody dropped the delivery off? He said, yeah, man, I got them right here. The computer and the books and all that kind of stuff. Help me take them across the street. I mean, so... it is what it is.
Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. It is what it is. So,
I want to ask you this, brother.
Sure.
This goes back, just backtracking to, I loved your explanation of the difference between education and training.
yes, sir.
So I wanted to bring it back there for a second.
Sure.
And I want to bring up the youth.
Sure.
Okay, so a lot of neighborhoods are very diverse these days too. Like you have, black children of various backgrounds. Some might be, of America. Some might be of Africa, the Caribbean, different parts of Asia. Various white people. So now, is there any difficulty in explaining the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad to black children who are growing up in a diverse environment, or black children who are growing up who may have friends who are white children? Is there any difficulty with
No,
that?
brother.
Okay.
At the root of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teachings is truth.
Okay.
I went to a symposium one time and I told some white folks, your white male children will be better off in the classroom with me than they would be in public education. Because the common denominator is truth. See, white people have to know how they got to be white.
That's right.
White people are losing their world today. Common white people, like my white neighbor, for example. He's watching his world fall, right? But he don't know why it's falling. The common denominator is the truth. See, let me give you an example. Do you guys know a brother named Yusuf Bey that was out on the West Coast?
Your black bakery?
Right.
Okay.
Well, there was a brother that studied up under him, the life-giving teachers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So he understood the concept of the black man being God. Now there's a room full of students. He walks into the classroom and says to me, "Good morning, God." I said, "Good morning, brother, how are you?" He says to me, "I just wanted to see how God was doing today." I said, "Oh, brother, God is fine. God is wonderful. How are you?" He said, I'm fine. He said, God, can you tell me what is the area and square mileage of the planet Earth? I said, oh brother, you know, it's 196,940,000 square miles. He said, brother, he said, God, can you tell me what is the diameter of the Earth? I said, yes, sir. The diameter of the Earth is 7,926 miles. He said, God, can you tell me what is the distance from the sun to the earth? I said, oh brother, the distance from the sun to the earth is 93 million square miles. He said, okay, I just wanted to ask you those questions. He walks out. And the student says, why did he call you God? I said, because I am. He says, you're not God. I said, I am God. But the bigger question is, who are you?
Right. Get off me. What's up with you?
If you don't know who you are, how do you know who I am?
Hold that thought and do not, I know you got more, but do not lose that thought. Do not lose that thought.
Wow.
And Kyle, don't ask no question right now.
Yeah, my lips are sealed.
Get into that.
So, you know, naturally they were quiet. Scripture teaches that we're all God. And that's where true education of our children begins. You are a God. In you is the potential to master a God, not the. Psalms 82 and 6.
Yes, sir.
You're children of the Most High. You are all children of the Most High, all gods, children of the Most High God. But you will die like princes, and I think it says you will fall like trees. The Holy Quran says that the only reality is the person of your Lord. The person of your Lord.
I want us to read that Surah 109 too that you raised up when you're talking about the Holy Prophet Muhammad, talking about the person of the Lord too.
Yes, sir.
We're going to get the actual facts on that too.
Oh,
You know, when I say actual facts, I'm just talking about so we can extract. Because I mean, that's very powerful because you know, our Sunni brothers and so-called Orthodox Muslim brothers don't believe that the Holy Prophet taught about Allah the man.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he did. He said Jibril came to him, and when they, you know, it was and then they saw the shadow of a man going in 4 different directions. Brother,
I'll show you in 4 different directions.
you gonna show me? you gonna give it to me for it? Hey, can you cut brother's hair too? Or is it too late?
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah. But I want you to don't move nothing with your eyes.
Okay.
That's the profile.
All praises be to
Okay?
Allah.
And that's the back.
All praises be to Allah.
That's the other side.
That's me in 4 different directions. I saw myself for the first time in 4 different directions. North, south, east, and west.
And from
So,
every side, you look like a man to me.
praise be to Allah. You know, I appreciate it, brother. And so, yeah, we can lift it. You know, Surah 109 is titled The Disbelievers.
Yes, sir.
You know? Yes, sir.
Let's rock and roll, young man.
Let's go. So his mom wants you to take it down to like a 2.
Okay. All up top.
You up top.
And then what?
And then fade it. From
How
there.
close?
You want to take it to the sleep.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So yeah, brother, that's where.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, sir.
So that's where that.
But
I
can you
mean,
hand him the crown? No, I'll take it. Just keep it.
so that's
It's only a few verses.
yeah, it's about 6 verses.
Yes, sir.
I'm pretty sure I got it right. You mean to announce correction around all these soldiers.
But you know what? Whenever you come before the people, everything got to be correct.
Oh yes, sir. I mean,
Because you know they quick to say they phony Muslims. And the last thing you want to do is put something out there and somebody tag that.
in the name of Allah, beneficent, the merciful, we seek refuge in Allah against the curse of Satan. It says here in the name of Allah, beneficent, the merciful, say, oh disbelievers, I serve not what you serve,
That's right.
nor do you serve him whom I serve.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Nor shall I serve that which ye serve, nor do you serve him whom I serve. Right?
That's right. He wants a line.
For
straight
you,
across.
sir,
Straight across? No. Where
You don't
want
want
your
a line?
hairline at? See, I'm glad I asked. How you want your hairline?
you don't want him to line across the front, little boy? You don't, okay, you don't do
just get
that?
the sides lined up.
You just get the size line.
And then you get a box right here. Or you fade that out. You fade that close like your uncle.
When you get your hair cut, how do you, your mom told me
Looks
what
like
you,
he gets a little shape up.
right,
here.
your mom, yeah, your
And
mom
then
told
fade
me,
all that out.
your
You
mom
get sideburns or no? Okay, so all this is faded out close.
Right.
And this is cut down like a 2, right?
your mom said take it to a 2. That's what she told me. You ain't with that?
You want to keep your box?
You want to keep your box?
I knew it.
Yeah, we go half, we mean that. But we gotta take it to a 2. Okay. And if you want to keep his box, then we won't take it, to the stick. We'll just stay.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Well, yeah, I'm going to shape him up the way you want, and I'll probably just fade him out.
Right,
Because
okay.
he don't mind if this is close, right?
Right.
But you don't want that close? Yeah, he don't mind if this
Right,
is close. He
okay.
just don't want to use all that top.
Right. But your mom said we gotta take it to a
2 will take it all the way down.
2. That's what you want.
Yeah.
So when you want to take it to a 2.
It's up to mom is paying. The way I normally go, I go with whoever got the dollars.
Right.
You grew up.
Well, no, so what? Hit it with a 3. Let's see what it looks like.
Okay.
I don't want him to be mad with his uncle. He ain't saw me in 4 years. I'm trying to end this on a right proper note. You know, and I'm paying for the cut. So
So that's how
his mom gave me the money. I said, no, I got
Fade
it.
it out. You didn't get that. That's how you shape it up? Huh? Looked like he had a part and everything. You had a part here? Okay.
Did you want to put your part back in it? No. Okay.
Playing it safe.
Yeah. So the Quran here clearly, I don't take this marker out. The Quran here clearly says, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was about him. And remember, he didn't say that he was the messenger of Jibreel.
Right.
He said that he was the messenger of Allah. So can we then argue that Allah went to the Arabs in the person of the angel of Jibreel?
That's right.
Can we argue that?
It ain't even an argument. It's a fact.
You know?
Unless he's calling himself the servant of Jibril,
Right.
then it will be an argument. But if he didn't call himself that, then
The
it's a
Prophet
fact.
Muhammad taught us if you worship a God that's not a man, you're worshiping something that's less than yourself.
That's right.
There's nothing more intelligent in the universe or on this earth than man. We have the power to think, reason. And of all of the intelligence, those of us who live on the earth are the most intelligent because this is in the solar system, this is the planet on which God resides. So the black man that rules the universe resides on this planet. That's what I was taught.
Sound like mathematics to me, Brother Hasan.
Yeah, and that's what we go with dealing with, giving us a religion that appeals to our emotion versus a religion that appeals to our reason and to our life.
Now, you said that earlier,
Yes, sir.
and what the Christians call the Holy Spirit, to me, I always recognize as being the truth and the power of God himself.
That's all we're talking about. Is that the 3?
That's the 3.
Okay, take it to us.
Okay. But
Please.
I will. I have to say this. We just did a video last week,
Yes, sir.
and we said the exact words you said. You remember, Brother Kyle? When we were talking about the emotional believer,
Right.
without logic, and how twisted that is, because when you just listening to that music and you getting into the feeling, like Marvin Gaye,
What's going on?
yeah, when I get that feeling,
Right,
see, nothing good happens after that feeling.
Right. Right. See, and if you YouTube Minister Farrakhan's tape called The Mind of God,
Right.
He said it would blow your mind in terms of the way God thinks. He said you take all that killing and stuff that's going on over in the Middle East right now. He said, who's God clearing that out for? That area belongs to us. That area belongs to the original man. See? Yeah, God will take life. God don't think the way we think. See? What you think is bad, God says it's good. And what you say is good, I mean, you follow what I'm saying? The opposite.
Yes, sir.
What we say is up, God says it's down. What we say is love, God says it's hate. What we say is hate, God says it's love. Because we don't think. So his thoughts are from above,
Right.
and ours are where? From beneath. So if you give a man a religion that appeals to his emotion, he's not thinking logically. 80% of the purchases that are made in this country are rooted in emotion. The white man moves you in marketing through your emotion. So when I used to sell cars, but how's that ride feel? Does it feel
Wow.
good? Yeah, you know. And if you sitting with your wife, see, I say, brother, you know, that payment. I say, well, brother, I want to do $300 a month. I look at your queen and say, up to. And if she like it, she'll bump it 400. Oh, we can do 400. On emotion. So I used to tell brothers, when you go to the car dealership, you don't let your wife say nothing. She is silent. See? Because we teach that silence is security. So if we on a detail, and brother is the minister, we don't say nothing.
That's right.
We don't say nothing. You can't, because they don't know who the killer is among us. They don't know who the college educated brothers among us. Only thing they see is black suits, dark suits, and bow ties. That's all they see. Right? So if I'm quiet, then I can see with my eyes and hear what he don't see and hear. So we get back and we do the debrief. Look, brother minister, these are the things you need to be thinking about. Right? We want to be so quick to run our mouth. See, that's the magic of having a woman that's silent. Not that she's not supposed to speak. See, but I'm blessed to have a wife that when we get to certain situations, she already know based on what I'm doing, what I'm saying, she don't say nothing. Then when it's all over, then she'll have her say. Because any intelligent man don't want to make a decision without inquiring his queen. So we go into our women to give us children. What can a woman give you from her mind? If she can give you that from her womb, what can a righteous black woman give you from her mind?
Now,
So I was on the radio.
that skin tight fade. I just want to let you know.
Let's see.
Skin tight fade.
Okay.
Silence, okay?
Yes, sir. That's good. And so I was telling the brother one time, don't even let them shake hands with that man. And they so evil now, brother, even as a female,
Oh, man.
they get the same treatment. You know, Mrs. Mom, they were one of them MGT beans. Boom! You shut her down. When you discuss that when you get home to a queen, what did you see? She'll tell you straight up, you ain't buying no car from that snake. Snake! What's going on? Yeah, you understand? Because she was silent, since she wasn't a part of the conversation.
Right.
She was silent. So you ain't there to keep your mouth shut because I ain't interested in what you got to say. You there because I want you to listen. Right? For not what's being said.
Right.
That's good.
See, baby, you want to listen for what's not being said. Watch the body language, baby. Well, I need you to watch that. I ain't going to make no decision like that without consulting you. I got better sense than that. So once you take your queen, So my wife worked for herself. I'm blessed to put her in a position where she can work for herself. See, so she's not interacting with that beast every day like that. She's interacting with me, and she's interacting with the minister. Right? When you come home from work, she's talking about what the minister said. That's what you want. You understand what I'm saying? So she don't go to work with the beast like that. So when you take your queen from the enemy, that's your power piece, bro. And that should be one of your main goals. If she gotta work, put her in a position to work for herself. Put her in a position where she don't have to answer to the beast. You deal with that. But don't put her up on that. You deal with that. If at all possible.
Inshallah, my queen is going to be in the back.
Yes, sir.
And we have a sewing room in the back.
Yeah,
so this ain't all of the basics.
Right.
There's a couple more phases to this basic.
And when you got your queen on your team like that, and she's a man that loves the minister, see, but she'll keep you straight.
Right.
I remember my wife asking me about the phone call. Damn, baby, we ain't getting no papers this week. Now you know, brother, when the MGT is asking about the distribution of the final call, right?
Imagine that.
Man, Babe, I need $5 for the national defense. For the F.
Right.
Here's 10. 5 for me and 5 for you. You hear what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. That's because you took her. From the end. All praise to you,
Wow.
So this Quran always, brother, talks about God in terms of this is his kingdom.
That's right.
It's on him to take account.
I remember student minister Rodney Muhammad.
Man, that brother's powerful, brother. Right there.
Yes, sir. We're blessed and filthy. Brother said, and I never thought about it that way, Surah or chapter 110.
The hell.
Right. When you have the 2 1s and a 0, one of the people is emptying himself completely. He doesn't even want to be recognized. That's the minister. But the 2 1s, of course, is Master Fard Muhammad and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But that scripture says, say he, Allah is one. And he's
That's not the hell, is it?
Let's look at it.
Say he, Allah, God is one.
Yes, sir. No,
That's
it's
Surah
112. 112. Thank you, brother.
Oh, no
Surah
problem, brother.
112.
Thank you.
Surah 110 is headed too. But Surah 112, chapter 112.
Chapter 112
Yes, sir.
is the time, man. The unity.
The unity.
103 is the time.
Right. 103 is the time.
Right.
Surely, man.
So you're talking, we're talking about
112. They all good, but 112.
We're on 112 right now?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
We're going to go to 110 because it's so quick.
You want me to go to 110?
Not right now. I want to stick with 112. It
Yes,
says
sir.
Allah is one.
Okay.
Right? And then Minister Rodney said, isn't one something? If
It
I
has
have
weight.
no clipper at all, and then you give me one, don't I have something? So if you say he, Allah is one, that means he's something. You can't say that about a spirit, because a spirit can't give you an extra one. If I got one clipper and then one spirit clipper, I got one clipper. When he said say he,
Say one in the hand is better than what? A million in the bush?
that's right. You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's a deep thing because say he, now that's a pronoun. Not her, not it. Say he, Allah is one. So I was just building on what you were saying
Yes, sir.
with Surah 109.
Yes, sir.
So let's go to 110.
Come on, let's go there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you want me to read it or?
Yes, sir.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, when Allah's help and victory comes, and without seest men entering the religion of Allah in companies, celebrate the praise of thy Lord and ask his protection.
Right.
His protection.
That's right.
Surely he is ever returning to mercy.
That's right.
Not it, not her,
Yeah.
but he
That's right.
and him.
And that word victory is present. We
Okay.
talked about Surah 48, the victory.
Okay.
We on 48th Street.
Right. Yeah, we are on 48th Street. Right.
So that's 110, right?
That's one.
That's 110. And then we know Surah 103. You
Time.
said that too, the time.
Yes, sir. you want to go there?
We can. Now we're going to stop there because to tell you the truth, I can literally go through the whole Quran as poetry. And not one verse is something that you can't learn from.
Oh, man.
Unlike what we say about the Bible. And I'll explain that after you read 1 and 3.
Okay. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. By the time, surely man is in loss, except those who believe and do good, and exhort one another to truth, and exhort one another to patience.
That's right. Praise be to Allah. Now, when I made that statement about the Bible, like I said, we're very careful with the internet. We're very careful, with social media and everything else. So when I made that statement, that that's the purest revelation known to man, that it doesn't have versions, that the Holy Quran has translations from one language to another, but not versions like we had with all these different versions. One scripture might be in one version, another. That same scripture might not be in another version.
Yes,
if I
sir.
gave you the Bible right now, I told you to look up Matthew 17:21, you won't be able to find it in all of these Bibles. You won't find it. It's in the King James, but it's not in the other ones. We quoted that scripture.
That
earlier.
particular verse is not there?
It's not there.
That particular verse is
Right. Because it's dealing with two pillars of Islam. Jesus said these things can only be cast out through prayer and fasting. Well, they took that out. Those are two pillars of Islam.
Woo!
Yeah, they very tricky. And they do things right up under your nose. But
You
when
hear
I,
that?
so when I said what I said about how the Holy Bible has scriptures in it,
This is a highly,
man,
him and his younger brother, the older brother, he's a highly intelligent.
who's that?
He's my nephew.
Oh yeah, I can see it in your face.
He's listening.
Right.
I'm gonna catch you going home in the car. I already know. I'm gonna catch it in the car.
But I have
Mom,
to say this.
Uncle Tony said, "Woo!" I'm gonna catch it from this little brother right here.
That's why we got to be right and exact.
That's right. And we have to be willing to be challenged,
That's right.
right, by them on what we say and what we believe. Because we want to leave them in a world believing spooky.
That's right. But what I was saying about the Bible scriptures and how certain scriptures.
Oh, I'm sorry, bro.
No, I'm not going to lose this because it's so deep.
Right.
That Holy Quran, when we really learn the value of it, when we learn the value of it, we understand that it's perfect.
Yes, sir.
As perfect as perfect can get. But with the Holy Bible, because we believe, like what the Muslims believe in the Bible, but we believe that it must be reinterpreted. We believe that it was tampered with, it must be reinterpreted so that man won't be snared by the falsehoods that's been added to it. Well, when you look at that Bible, right? There's stories in the Bible that no pastor would preach on. How many people would preach? How many pastors would preach on Lot and his daughters? You've never been to no church and heard that lecture. You know what Lot did with his daughters. I can't even sit in front of the young men. So those are scriptures that they are embarrassed of. But as Muslims, we have to recognize and understand that with the Holy Quran, we're not embarrassed of one verse. Because it's the pure word of God. And it's the pure reminder of the word of God. That's a better way of saying it because Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy is not in there like that. But all the major prophets are, and the intentionally false interpretation is corrected through the Holy Quran with a deep and clear understanding that comes through the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister of Farrakhan. So with all of that, you can extract the truth out of the Bible, but the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad even call it a poison book.
That's right.
Because in the hands of a person that doesn't understand its meaning, it'll poison you. But in a person's hands,
it's got to be in the hands of a competent physician.
Exactly. Now it's medicine. Different kind of poison.
Right.
So it's deep.
Yes,
so
sir.
I just wanted to say that because
Absolutely.
ain't nobody teaching on lots.
Right. Minister Farrakhan gave us an interpretation of that scripture.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Do you really believe that a prophet of God or a messenger of God will have sex with his own daughter?"
Right.
He said, "That's not what the scripture is talking about."
Mm-hmm.
He said he fathered them and grew them up in the way of God.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they were mature,
Mm-hmm.
he went into them and then produced offspring from them. he said Lot was not incestuous
Right.
in that, in that way. They were fathered. That's why they were called his daughters.
Right.
Like there's a sister in my city that refers to me as her father. Right? And she's married to one of the brothers in the ranks. And I ask her about her children. She says, you don't refer to my children as your little brothers and sisters. Refer to my children as your grandchildren. Because I see you as my father. Right? So, and that's a blessing that a sister will see you in that kind of light. But that's really what we're talking about. And a lot of times I think that they don't teach on certain things because they really don't understand what they're teaching.
Exactly.
They really don't understand, what it is that they're teaching. And part of our duty is to capture them. We have to take them, back from the enemy. I remember when I told my grandfather about we don't say convert to Islam because Islam is ours. So you can't convert to Islam. But he brought me up in the church. So when I was trying to explain to him, because he was the only real person I really cared about what they thought in terms of that, because I knew his conviction. So I really didn't know how to explain it, so I just began to ask him questions. I said, Grandpa, did you know that we were brought over here on a ship named Jesus? Jesus of Lubeck in 1555? He said, son, nobody never told me that. I said, Grandpa, where do we get our names? I said, Grandpa, these are the slave masters' names. They had us in slavery. When you were down in South Carolina, they had us down there with slaves. The names that we got from our slave masters. He said, nobody never told me that.
Right.
So I began to understand it really didn't even do any good for me to even try to explain, because he didn't even have a foundation.
Wow.
That's how thoroughly robbed he was. He didn't have any kind of foundation to stand on. So I'm not gonna go back and forth, right? At a certain point in time, if this is my son, I have to take care of him. But at a certain point in time, as he grows in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, he may have to take care of me. Follow what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I said my grandfather didn't even have a foundation, man, to even know and understand, But I thank Allah for him because he gave me a good example of what a man should do. He took care of his family. He brought his money home. He kept his house clean. He kept himself clean. He walked his walk, his Christian walk, the best way he knew how. And he said, I stopped going to church because I got so sick. I had to stay home in my bed so I couldn't get up no more. So that was a righteous black man, But so we just got to take the thing to the next level. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And it's deep because of that interpretation that you just gave. I never heard the minister speak on that, but it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with Moses in the burning bush.
Come on.
People think that he was talking to a bush that was on fire that wasn't burning. And the fire just represented the anger of Allah, but the anger was kept under control.
Kept under control.
And his
anger was kindled, but it wasn't destructive of himself.
He wasn't going to take Pharaoh out one day before he already planned to do it.
Man.
That's heavy.
See, and everything is done. Look at it that way. And everything is done because it's spookish.
Right.
No disrespect.
Right.
But that's what it is.
Right.
Just like the big fish. A man gets swallowed by a fish.
Right.
The fish just represents a circumstance that the man is in. Right? So we're in this, America is like a big fish to us. We can't never, we can't get into it, which means we'll never be fully integrated into it or digested into it, become a real part of it. But at the same time, we can't get out of it because we won't submit to the God. So now we're stuck in this situation. So you can't get in, right? See? But you can't get out. So Jonah had the reluctant prophet, and we are a reluctant people, had to submit to the God and say, okay, God, I'll do what you want me to do. And it was Nineveh he was sent to, right? Is that correct?
That's right.
And Nineveh was the only scripture were the only city in the scripture that was saved. Right?
You're right.
See, as a sign of us today, if we submit, we can save America from herself.
The minister used to say that it was a small window of opportunity for America that was closing quick. And I noticed that he only said it during the Obama administration because Obama represented the king of Nineveh. And he was the only president in all of the presidents that we have in our time that had a thorough respect for the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He actually went to the in March. So if anybody was going to accept, it would be him before Reagan or Bush or Clinton.
That's huge.
See, it's deep about the interpretation, so I always share with the brothers, because I used to be lieutenant, and they say once a lieutenant, always a lieutenant. But I share with the brothers how we having this interpretation should be doing so much more. Because when you have the understanding of these things, why are you less powerful than the people who don't? You see what I'm saying? I got the fact that people like to eat junk food more than they like to eat vegetables. I get it. But we can't keep using that excuse. One day we're going to have to get those 5,000 converts. You know what I mean? And I think it comes from us being able to speak the language of people well, meaning the spiritual tongue. You have to
you gotta meet a man where he is.
That's right.
And you have to, and see, and we are, like when I talk to pastors, I say, look, brother minister, that's just not going to go down like that. But I'm not trying to defeat him.
Right.
I'm trying to take him from our enemy.
That's right.
Because there are those that are in the church who knew what we knew. Like you going back earlier saying some of our best followers are still in the streets. Yes, sir. See, you get this into the hands of the right pastor.
Woo-wee. Young Elijah Muhammad said that we're not going to rise into the black pastor line.
Right. And I thought about, I'm going to follow through with it. This savior, if I get the opportunity, that some of these pastors that I'm not going to give them as a savior, they give.
Right.
The power of the black preacher and the power of the black church. Accept this gift from the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. The power of the black preacher and the power of the black church. And that's, I really think that's where we need to be. We're trying to take them from the enemy. The minister said that Condoleezza Rice and Coleman Powell were frogs that were swallowed by a dragon. A lot of these creatures are like that. They're frogs swallowed by a dragon. They're not themselves. And we have to be ourselves, otherwise these little brothers here won't have a future.
That's right.
I'll be 57 years old while Allah's permission in December. I got less days in front of me than I do behind me. Unless I go 1 meal every 3 days, I might be able to squeeze out another 150. Right? Get the 1 meal every 3 days, you'll be able to squeeze out another 150. You know what I mean?
Make it to the hereafter. Get more out of that.
Man, you understand what I'm saying? All praise is due to Allah. The righteous man, we don't have no set time to die. We die what? When we get ready. We've done so much work and made such a big contribution. So, Father, I think I'm tired. I want to take my rest. And at that time, when you decide to do that, you start eating 3 meals a day. When you start eating 3 meals a day, that's when you put a number on. So when you see Grandpa that's been here for 600-700 years, you see him getting up eating breakfast. So we're going to have breakfast. Have no toast and eggs. No turkey bacon. Say, Grandpa, what you doing? I say, come on, son, you know the science. It's time for me to take my rest. I got to make room for the soldiers that's coming behind me. Man, that's what Sister Ava was teaching one time. She said, when you start eating 3 meals a day, immediately you put a number on your days. You send a signal. You trying to
Check out time.
It's time to check out. I mean, you've done your work. You've been there 700 years.
And don't eat no grits. We got grits and
Oh man, all that. We eat all that. It's time to check out. Grits, cornbread, catfish. You say now, see, they ain't got nothing to do with science, right? That's suicide right there. You know what I mean? We said 3 meals a day, even if you eat right food. But you want to eat right food. You ain't going to go eat nothing crazy. Black eyed peas, collard greens, breakfast. Man.
I told you I started off in the church.
Right.
Go easy on me.
Go easy. That too, brother. 99 Baptist, brother.
That's
Fifth
right.
and Snot. 19148.
That's right.
Trust and believe, brother.
Oh,
Man,
How
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man.
But I want to share what you said real quick
Oh, yes, sir.
about the prophet Lot
Okay.
and how the Holy Quran frees the prophets up of false charges we're taught.
Okay.
So you did that today with that quote from the minister because
All
I
praise
didn't know
to
that.
Allah.
So you freed that particular prophet up from that false charge for not just me but everybody who's listening.
Yes, all praise to Allah. Yes, sir.
We normally do a final thought, and we want to get a final thought from you after everything, like to sum it up or anything that comes to your mind.
Well, first of all, brother, I want to say I'm thankful to Allah for him allowing me to be here with you all. Blessing me to come and be with my family.
That's right.
Be with the FOI.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
And this is just an example of how when the minister says that the highest energy is produced when we talk on the word of God. And what we saw here today was an example of that. I'm glad to be here. I don't get to see these brothers very often. When I said I was coming to the barber shop, I told my man, man, you gotta come. You gotta come ride, And his brother was going to come, his older brother, who was very highly intelligent. But he had been with them, sometimes he was a little older. He just needed a break. And his brother covered down for him so beautifully.
Okay.
He said, because they don't refer to me as brother Hasan. I'm Uncle Tony to them, and that's all right. He said, usually he has somebody older to be with, but he's been with us, so he just needs a break. He covered down.
Brother Hasan to us, we meet you into that.
Right.
You can't get away from Hasan.
Right. And so I'm just thankful, man. Just to be here, to be in Philadelphia, to be with you all, to be with my family, to be with the class. Just keep doing what you're doing with your YouTube channel. I can't wait. I'm gonna try to find a man to tune up on it, so I can, because you never know,
right?
And a lot that was said today, we probably want, even though I said it, I'm gonna have to revisit it. Because I prayed to Allah, man, before I open my mouth, that He would give me the words.
That's right.
To say. Sometimes the minister say the word comes out and then snap right back. Pow! You know what I mean? That wasn't only for the people that was listening, that was for you as well. So I thank y'all, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank y'all for being here.
Thank you for bringing that spirit.
Man, thank you for your service. To the honorable minister, Louis Farrakhan, thank you for your service to our people, and to our nation. Keep doing what you're doing. I mean, that's going places, man, that we can't go. And our people have to get to know the FOI, for themselves.
Right.
I told the police chief in my city, I said, I felt everybody was saying, bad things about you, and I kind of fell into that without even giving a man a chance. And I said, the fact of the matter is, I'm really the best friend you got when it comes to dealing with this gang warfare, right? And you know what that man looked at me and said, he said instinctively, I knew that all the time.
by right, they should have us training them cops,
Yeah,
the police officers.
you know,
And they know that,
right?
but they don't want to give any right to our lead.
So, but I mean, it's getting to the point now to where they're gonna have to, because the way that they deal with us is going to determine the direction that this country is going. The way they deal with us is going to determine the direction that this country is going. So, I thank y'all, man. You know, for the opportunity to share. You know, to be among the. I asked Brother Cap, I said, is it one of ours? I'm gonna have to make a report. I don't know what the hell he was talking about. That brother didn't do. No, I'm oh man, because you know I told him, I said, well, he said he's coming back Monday, so I'm gonna be sure to try to greet him and put my arms around him, talk to him and stuff. But I try to catch him on Monday. My flight leaves on Tuesday.
Okay.
First thing Tuesday morning. We get smoking back to Phoenix, Arizona.
Uh-huh.
And we got a flight, and from there we got a flight into Fresno that'll put me back, inshallah, about 12 noon Tuesday. So those are my closing words, but just a note of gratitude. Thank y'all for receiving me the way you did, the spirit that you did, and just be like that with one another.
Yes, sir.
Don't be like that. 'Cause I know we have problems.
How you like that?
I know we have problems. Sometimes we be difficult to deal with. But when I went to Las Vegas one time to see my daughter who was having a real rough time. My car broke down. I needed a hotel, and I needed to eat and all that kind of stuff. And everything that I needed was in the mountains.
Okay.
And I told him, brother, I got with the captain, I said, gather brothers around me. And I said, I'm going to tell you something, brothers. I said, if you brothers treat one another the way you treated me when I came to your city, I said, the mosque will be free. That's right. I said, if y'all treated one another the way you treated me, delicately, right, with care, brothers bend over backwards, right? Yeah, man. All praise
Praise
to
be to
Allah.
Allah.
Those are my closing remarks.
Thank you, Brother Hasan.
Thank you.
It's been a great pleasure. I feel like I learned so much today.
Brother, I did too.
Yeah.
We gods up in here, brother.
Yes, sir.
Men sharpen men like steel sharpens steel.
Right out the book.
Man, and sometimes, a man will ask you a question. You don't know what God put in you. A man will ask you a question and bring something up out of you. You go back and you think about what you said. And man, where did that come from?
Right.
I needed to take that. you ever give counsel to people and you say, man, I should have taken
That was from me.
Yeah, really. I needed that one for myself. You know what I mean?
That's what sparked what we're doing.
Right.
Because we had those moments so many times that we said, you know what, you got to capture some of this.
Yeah,
Right.
for us.
Right.
For us to go back and
Right.
think about what I said and how I'm going to activate that.
Right after you get off the rostrum, I normally, I say a lot. I can't remember nothing I said after I get off the rostrum. When I'm given the privilege and the honor to come before the people for even if it's 5 minutes, it doesn't matter. I don't use notes because the minister doesn't use notes. That's not why I don't. I just don't use notes because it just feels like, for me personally, I'm trying to form something that I think is going to blow people away. So I like that vulnerable feeling. I like that emptiness of not knowing which way I'm going.
Well, I pray to Allah that, He take over whether I have notes or not.
That's right. That's right.
I find that notes are helpful to me when I want to make a point, specifically in the science of hermeneutics in the ministry. Your ministry your lecture should be able to be reduced down to, they say, to one sentence. Right. What's the point that we're trying to make? Okay. And so I remember going into a prison one time, Admiral State Prison, feeling like I wasn't prepared. Those are the men of God. They locked down, but those are God's people. And I said to the Imam Salam, who was a member of the Nation of Islam, soldier. looked at me and said, brother, you suit up and you show up. He said, Allah and Minister Farrakhan has put so much up in you already.
That's right.
You don't need no notes.
That's right.
Bro, you know what I mean? And when. Sometimes you just have to go. Like that. So, Minister Farrakhan say, can you go alone and know that you're not alone?
Right.
Wow. So, can you go alone and know that you're not alone? So it's always we.
Okay.
It's always we. Who in the field today? We did. We who? Me and the God. Went in the field today. It's always we. You don't do this work by yourself.
Wow.
It's always we.
Praise the Lord.
It's always we. That's why sometimes we go out there and we run into certain things. We meet the wrong sister at the right time. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Right, though, man. Become a casualty of war out there. Man, if it wasn't we, right? If it was just me, or you, or I, right? With the Wall Street Journal, right? Or the Philadelphia Tribune, or the Philadelphia Inquirer, it would have been a different story, right? But it was we with the final call.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
That's right. Yeah, man, this is war. This is mental and spiritual warfare.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah, man. Y'all keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm very proud of you, man.
Yes, sir.
I heard Sister Abel when she was the Southwest Regional Minister, not the South, but the Southern Regional Minister. A lot of us didn't understand that in our immaturity. And she was saying the fact that Minister Farrakhan would put a female over the mosque meant that the men needed to go and take the street. The bigger work was out in the street.
That's right.
And then she said that the men that come and follow the Honorable Minister Farrakhan are not ordinary. You're not dealing with an ordinary brother that comes into the mosque and writes his letter and says, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who came to us in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad, our deliverer. I desire a name, right, from thee. Give me a holy name. Is that the letter?
Yes, sir.
Brother, come through that process, man. He ain't ordinary. He's a little crazy sometimes. So is we. So is we. So we just gotta keep trying to bring the God out of one another. And that's why conversations like this are so valuable. So y'all keep doing what you I'm gonna plug in us, gotta keep up with that YouTube channel now, see what y'all talking about.
Oh, I'm gonna lock you in, Brother Hasan.
And I gotta call you up and say, hey man, tell that brother I said.
Whenever you're in Philly, you got a second home down here.
Oh, brother, I appreciate that. All praise is due to Allah. It's mandatory I come through here now.
Hey.
I got to come to 1322 South 48th Street. All in fours. 8 stand for infinity.
Infinity?
8 is the number of infinity.
Wow. There you go.
Huh?
How you like that?
My nephew said that's the figure 8.
The what?
He said he did. He said the figure 8.
The figure 8. Right.
Goes on for that. The black man is gonna rule forever. What I owe you, black man?
Well,
don't you even try. Brother, don't you even try. No, sir. No, sir.
how much you normally used to pay?
Huh?
How much you normally used to pay?
30. Okay.
That's what your cut is, 30. But for the young man, his cut is 20.
Okay. There it is. What you usually charge?
30.
Okay.
That's why but normally people charge.
But see, you know how we do. You know what I'm saying? Just blessed us, you know what I mean? I don't want to hear that, but you ain't gonna rob me of my blessing.
After that flood, brother, I gotta take that money.
You are not gonna rob Brother Hasan.
You hear me, Brother Hasan?
I heard it. But he was going down that road.
Under normal circumstances,
That's
I
a normal
say, hey, brother, I've been paid already.
No, sir. Never
That
that,
week
bro.
I had.
Never that, bro.
I appreciate it, brother.
I appreciate you.
Tomorrow we gotta get this air conditioning going.
Yes, sir. Do it, brother.
Man, I'm thankful, but if you would have had it your way, I'll tell you that.
If I had what?
You would have had it your way. I don't worry about no money. I I take this, man, and I'm thankful. But if whatever you was used to paying is what you would have paid,
No, I mean, you know, I got it, man. We got to
appreciate
support.
it, my brother.
No, we got to support one another, man. I mean, like we talked about mathematics.
Right.
I mean, the spirit is great, but the reality is,
Sometimes Allah force you to see that reality too. That's what I'm feeling right now.
the reality is, brother, we got bills. We trying to build an empire. We ain't gonna build no empire. Brother said empire. You said that. We ain't gonna build no empire on no spirit.
That's right.
You know, we're taught that, you know what I mean? You can't separate spirit from matter.
Right.
And the brother, the regional captain told me, he said the brothers told me they was going to be with us in spirit. I said, brother, you can't separate matter from the spirit.
That's right.
I said, that man's spirit is wherever his backside is. That's where his spirit is.
Yeah, that's real.
You know what I mean? So if he with us in spirit, he need to be with us in the tangible reality, because you can't separate. You can't, that's what I said. So don't let them tell you that. Right. Spirit is wherever your backside is, brother. But we don't teach, we don't separate spirit from matter over there.
No, sir.
You know? So I wasn't there. That's what you said.
So we believe in the seen.
That's and the
There
unseen.
you go.
Okay. But they move together.
Absolutely.
Okay, now don't get no slicing up in there. We was
You
doing real good.
Oh no, we harmonize. If you get the unseen out of brother Zebulon, then Zebulon ain't gonna be cutting
Yeah,
up.
please. Come on now. Yeah. So we all gotta do our part. You know.
Islam is mathematics, and mathematics is Islam.
And
It
brother,
all adds up.
and brother Abdul Iman from Phoenix told me, he said, you know, brother Hasan, we have to be able to show Islam from our pockets. See, Prophet Muhammad wasn't the most influential man that ever lived. For nothing, he was the most influential man in terms of what he produced in the tangible reality. See? We know that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was from God because of what he produced, not because of what he said. A whole lot of cats. Going back to what you were saying before, logic and all that other kind of stuff.
Right.
See, we got to show and prove, brother. If Allah is God in the person of a man, then we got to show and prove that. These brothers can't build nothing on those studios.
Joshua generation.
But they can't build it on school. They can't do it on school.
Oh no, sir. I'm just thankful that they in the house.
Oh, man, I am too.
I'm honored from Joshua generation being in the house with us.
Man,
We don't normally have this, right, Brother Kyle?
this brother right here is a scientist. I'm gonna catch it.
You want to say a few words, my brother? Just a few words. Bless us with a couple words.
You know what this is?
This was a very influential moment, and I'm glad you brought me here.
praise
You really changed my life forever.
Oh,
Wow.
praise to Allah.
Wow.
Man, oh man. How about you, young man?
You don't have to say anything if
You
you
don't
don't
have to
want
say nothing.
to,
Your
but we
face
just
is
give
saying
you
it
an
all.
opportunity, you know. Sometimes silence is golden.
That's right.
Just because you ain't talking don't mean you ain't sucking it up. Yeah. Oh, brother, I owe you for the paper.
What paper? Oh, okay.
Well, it was a pleasure to meet you again, Brother Hasan.
Brother, the pleasure's mine. The pleasure's all mine.
It was a
Be
pleasure
the-
to meet
Be
the
in the company of the gods. They don't get no
brothers.
better than this. In the company of the
What are your
gods.
names again?
Avery,
Avery
Nice to
and
meet you too, my brother.
Amar.
We gotta do
It's a
it
pleasure
like
to meet y'all
see,
brothers, man.
Oh,
we don't sweat the
oh,
sheep.
oh, brother.
That's the thing.
Assalamu alaikum, family.
Walaikum salam.
Walaikum salam.
Right.